a screen that says 3 last-minute steps to win this Prime Day. If you want to let me know in the chat if I got that one right, then we will be good to go. Nice. Cool. Awesome. All right. Well, let's do this then. All right. So welcome, everybody. My name is Brian Johnson, and I'm glad that you joined me today. I'm going to move through this very fast here. So this is primarily designed for those of you who have, maybe you've missed the last couple of webinars that I did as far as getting ready for Q4 and for Prime Days. And so this is kind of a last minute catch up for those of you who are waited to the last minute to get ready. All right, so primarily what I'm going to go through today is I'm going to talk about the 3 last minute steps you can take after you leave this webinar to maximize your results on Prime Day. These are essential. That's why I'm bringing them to you specifically today. If you haven't already, of course, you want to mark your calendar because Prime Days this year is October 13th and 14th, coming up very soon. Those were announced officially about a week ago, and we were predicting October 12th originally about a month ago. And Amazon said, no, let's go ahead and, they said, no, Brian, we're going to make it the 13th instead of the 12th. So I was off by a day. Now, so this is what we're going to need to cover today. So specifically outlining these last minute steps that you can take. If you ignored my other webinars and just joining now, hopefully you're not stressing over what you need to do. If this is your first, in the chat, do me a favor, give me some feedback here. If this is your first Prime Day or Prime Days, put a P into the chat for me, will you? If this is your first Prime Day. And maybe an X if this is not your first rodeo. Yeah, okay, so we got a mix, okay. Nice, okay, all right, cool. All right, so let me keep going here. Looks like people are still coming in, and sorry if you missed it, some of the early content. Hopefully we can catch it up with Q&A at the end, but I'm gonna move through this pretty fast. But first, before we get started, I do want to take a quick minute to let you know that this workshop today is sponsored by a phenomenal advertising agency team, of course my own, that I've built that includes multi-million-dollar brands, top Amazon executives, trained and accredited experts with a proven track record of high performance ad and listing management. I can't have asked for a better team. We have a very high bar when we hire, and we make sure that everything continues to improve and get better and better, and our results show it. So obviously, if your brand wants to know if now is the right time to consider outsourcing to an agency like Canopy Management, that can level up your competitive presence and make it more profitable on Amazon, then reach out to my team today at canopymanagement.com/webinar offer. And Alex has already jumped on this. She's already helped me out and put the link into the chat. Thank you, Alex. Appreciate that. Now that we have that out of the way, in the chat, who's ready to get started with the workshop? Come on, you got to give me something here. Yes. Nice. All right, so what we're talking about today then is these, what are the 3 steps that I'm talking about? Okay, so it's in the title here, but what are we talking about today? This, of course, the first one is identify those winners to drive your Prime Day strategy. Actually, there's gonna be more product winners, but those are gonna be the ones that perform best in PPC, of course. 2 is gonna be focused on the winners to maximize profits. And then, of course, 3 is to plan your post-Prime Day strategy to avoid wasted ad spend, which is a common occurrence that I see. Jumping in here, just for those of you who have never seen me before, who am I? Let me introduce myself. My name is Brian Johnson, and I am the founder of a number of things, including a Facebook group called Amazon PPC Troubleshooting, where we focus just on advertising on Amazon, and we're over 20,000 strong. I think we're coming up on 21,000 this month. I'm also, of course, the co-founder and designer for software like PPC Scope, which was one of the original ad management platforms for Amazon. And of course, some of you who have gone through my course sponsored Products Academy, we're on our third version. Actually, PPC Scope is coming up in their third version this month also. So we're relaunching that. Sponsored Products Academy, it's on its third version. And then, of course, as I mentioned earlier, is my done-for-you ad agency, Canopy Management. Now, I've done quite a bit of coaching over the years, and speaking and consulting and blah, blah, blah. The main reason that I say these things is simply it's like, look, I've been doing this for a while. My passion, my focus is on advertising products on Amazon. And I like to think that I've gotten really good at it, right? So the results kind of show for that, not only for my own brand, but also for all of my clients and students. So with that out of the way also, let's start out with identifying the winners, okay? So step number one on this is going to be when it comes to your products and your advertising, I'll get into that. There are winners and there are losers in your Prime Day strategy. To kind of put this into an analogy, we're going to call them bus drivers and passengers, okay? So I'll show you why here in a second, but also show you how we make this distinction. Now, when it comes to Prime Day winners and losers, first of all, you need to put your best foot forward on Prime Day, okay? This is going to be extremely competitive, especially this year with all the e-commerce, the growth in e-commerce, obviously for obvious reasons. And that means that you'll want to really dial in your strategy on the ASINs, or the products that drive the majority of your sales and conversions. I'll talk a little bit more about keywords and advertising after this, part of step 2, but part of step 1 here, of course, is what you really need to look at. If you've got multiple products, really focus on what are your winning products. Now, winning can be subjective, right? But let's talk about a few of the considerations that I would look at. One is profit margin. What kind of profit margin are you getting on a product? Even if you are running some kind of a discount or like a coupon or a Prime exclusive deal, then you want to make sure that your your margins are calculated so you know which products have the highest margin, right? That's going to give you the most flexibility to be competitive on these high traffic, very competitive Prime days. This is also going to apply to Cyber Week. So keep all these things in mind for Cyber Week as well. That would be, of course, Black Friday through Cyber Tuesday, or the Cyber 5, they call it. Conversion rates. So conversion rates is probably one of the biggest things that I talk about, the one thing that I lead with, because ultimately the higher the conversion rate, whether that is a product, whether that's an advertising asset, and I'll get into that in more detail, conversion rates without a doubt become great opportunities if you see it and you exercise it, become great opportunities in order to increase your sales. And of course, it helps keep the ACoS lower and therefore increases your profit margin, which ideally is what we're looking to do. Outside of a new product launch, we want to actually make some money back so that we can pay ourselves as well as launch our next product or our next series of products. And of course, on high traffic days, we need to be careful about inventory levels, right? We don't want to go in there and put a whole bunch of advertising and a whole bunch of promotion behind 50 units because it's going to vanish. Now, if you're trying to liquidate, well, obviously that's a different story, right? If you're trying to liquidate, then yeah, throw it behind there and you'll probably clear it out, right? I am a big fan. Who's a fan with me of Pareto principle? So this is the principle, of course, that technically the principle is that 80% or 20% of your efforts produce 80% of your results. The way we look at it on Amazon, certainly from an advertising standpoint, is it carries across quite well, and that is that 80% of your profits or 80% of your sales come from 20% of your advertising, or in this case, 20% of your products. So technically for this slide, I would say that 80% of your sales and 80% of your profits come from 20% of your products. So on high traffic, very competitive days like Prime days, I want you to focus in on that 20%. You spent the rest of this year testing out the other 80%. You've identified now what the 20% is. Focus on those that have the highest conversion rates, enough inventory to sell well during prime days, and of course has enough profit margin so that when you walk away with this, when you're done, don't make it ego, don't make it an ego metric. It's like, oh, I tripled my sales. Don't care if you didn't walk away with any pocket change. Okay. If you walk away with money, that's what's important here. So what I want you to do is I want you to look at those products. I want you to divide those into two separate types: passengers and bus drivers. Let me kind of go into that analogy a little bit. I know that there are a few questions that are coming through, so that I don't, so that I can kind of keep on pace here. I'm going to hold off and I'm going to answer those after I'm done basically with the slide deck, right? Fair enough. So go ahead and put the questions in there, but then I'll circle back around on those toward the end here. All right. I love the fact that people just continue to come in as the call. That usually happens on my workshops. It's like 10, 15 minutes later, right? People are still rolling in. That's awesome. So welcome. Thank you. All right. So passengers, the idea of passengers versus bus drivers. Passengers are basically, those are the products that are just kind of coming along for the ride on prime day on these high traffic days, right? They typically have a lower return on your investment. They've got lower margin. Maybe they have lower inventory. My recommendation on those is that's your part of your 80% that you want to essentially not drive your ad spend. Don't invest in that lower 80%, those passengers, during these high traffic competitive days. Otherwise you're gonna lose money, right? From a profitability standpoint. There are tactics certainly where you can drive some traffic to them. But for now, focus on the 20% where you're going to get the highest return on your investment. Again, highest profit margin, highest conversion rate, an ample amount of inventory, right? As far as the bus drivers, those are the bus drivers, right? Those are the prime day strategy, drivers of the bus, right? I don't know. This is something my team came up with as far as the analogy, and it's kind of funny. It's become kind of a running joke, but I wanted to share it with you because it actually does make sense for this. So the bus drivers, of course, they're leading the way. They're the ones that are in control, and they're obviously the ones that you're paying attention to, because these are the ones that you can spend, you can invest a lot of your ad spend into and a lot of your efforts into making sure that these top 20%. These bus drivers are the ones that are running successfully, so that you get the highest amount of sales on those, and then the highest amount of profitability. Now, certainly one of the things that my agency does the rest of the year, we also take a look at like how can we additionally promote that other 80%, right? It's not simply just like, oh, we only focus on the 20%. No, definitely not the case. But for most brands, they don't have the conversion rates and the profit margins in order to do prime days or cyber week well with their other 80%. So your highest ROI is going to be in these bus drivers, that top 20%, right? All right. So let me know in the chat here, what do you think I'm going to say here is your, as far as what fuels your prime day success? So if your top performing products are your bus drivers and your lower performers are your passengers, what is the fuel in this whole metaphor? Come on, everybody jump in. Open up chat. Tell me what you think. Let me know you're paying attention. Keywords, PPC. Still hoping somebody will identify it here. Come on, guys, jump in, please. ACOS. Oh, I'm cutting out. Okay, well, that would certainly do it. I'm asking what fuels your prime day success? Traffic. All right, visibility. All right. I'm actually going to, all right, I'll let you off the hook here. It's like, man, he's being brutal. It is actually, I'm going to go with inventory on this one. Now, there's a lot of other factors, of course, and this is kind of a subjective thing, but during these high traffic days when you've got a lot of volume, if you get any kind of solid visibility of your product, if you run out of inventory, you're basically, you're done, right? So one of the things obviously is that if you run out of fuel, if you run out of inventory, then the bus stops, right? Kind of makes sense, right? But that is why the three things that I'm telling you to look at is conversion rate, margin, profit margin on each product, and of course, do you have enough inventory? Now, you may want to play the game on Prime Day, on either Prime Day, and say, it's like, well, I'm going to watch it and I'm going to keep the ads running on everything until I see what starts running out of stock and then turn them off. Okay, that's your prerogative. But keep in mind too, is that if you have not set any kind of caps on your bids, right? Here's kind of the risk here. One of the reasons why I say focus in on 20% that have the higher conversion rates is because oftentimes what we forget to do is we've got, let's say we've got $2 bids out there on our ads, and we've been enjoying all year long cost per click of $1, right? Well, on Prime Day, everybody goes mad. You know, like a lot of all your competitors, they start irrationally bidding. They start irrationally spending things. They're just like, I gotta sell, I gotta sell, I gotta sell. And everybody does that. And of course, they listen to Amazon saying you need to increase your bid, you need to increase your budget. And then all of a sudden, because you had a $2 bid on some target keyword, an ad, product targeting, whatever the case is, now all of a sudden you're realizing your maximum bid. And so all of a sudden your costs doubled. And if you're not, focused on just the products and the advertising that have the higher conversion rates, you're likely going to start losing money really fast. So let me kind of jump into this second one here, because this is the one I believe very passionately about, especially on big traffic days like this, right? So now that we have identified what those products are, those bus drivers, that top 20%, I'll try to let that go as far as the analogy goes. Now that we've identified which products that you're going in, you're saying like, okay, these are the top 20% that have the highest margin, the highest conversion rate, the most inventory, right? The other 80%, I'm serious about this, is that I'm actually going to pause ads on those, right? I'm not going to run those. Now, there's a little bit more detail in that. So there's a kind of a middle ground there. But for Prime Day, we want to amplify the winners, that top 20%, by focusing our ad spend to those products and those advertising targets that have the highest ROI, okay? The highest return on the investment. All right. Give me a 5 if that makes sense. Should be fairly straightforward. Yeah, no, okay, I figured. Cool, nice. Thank you, appreciate you jumping in. All right, so here's what I want you to do, all right? Focus in on the highest converting ad types, placements, and targets. I'll go into this a little bit more detail here. So when it comes to the ad types, you have sponsored product, sponsored brand, and sponsored display ad types. Now, for our clients, we also deal with demand side platform, or what they call DSP, which is Amazon's secondary ad platform. Definitely talk to us if you feel like your brand is of the scale. If you're well established, then you definitely want to talk to us about that one, because we just crush it with DSP, but also with a lot of these other ad types, of course. But most of your competition is going to be using sponsored product ads because it's pretty much accessible to everybody. So sponsored product automatic campaigns, keyword campaigns, product targeting campaigns, those are typically going to be the ones that are most competitive and the most expensive because everybody's got access to them. They're fairly easy to set up. And that's where the highest cost per click is typically going to be. So if you are not currently running, but you have access to other ad types, sponsored brand ads, sponsored display ads, or individual targets such as product targeting ads, if you've got access to be able to run those, like say if you're brand registered and you're not currently running those, I'm going to show you why you are at a high risk on the next slide. But I want you to focus in for Prime Days, for Cyber Week. You want to be looking at which of your ad types, sponsor product, sponsor brand, sponsor display, have the higher converting results, that have the higher conversion rates. Now, for those of you who haven't calculated, the conversion rate from your advertising is orders divided by clicks. So you can look at your ad console and see pretty quickly as far as what that is. Amazon doesn't tell you what the conversion rate is, but you can do orders divided by clicks, right? And get what figure out what the conversion rate is. My recommendation is figure out what is your average conversion rate across all of your different ad types. What is your average conversion rate across all of your different targets or your placements or your products? In other words, you've got some research to do here, some spreadsheet work, right? I know you're not looking forward to it, but it is crucial for this type of high traffic event, because what you want to do is you want to focus in. Now, if you went 50-50, you could just say, okay, what is the average conversion rate? Keep everything that is above that average, basically pause everything that's below that average, right? That's kind of an oversimplified version. Ideally, what I would recommend is you focus in on what are the targets, what are the ad types, what are the placements, what are the targets that produce the top 20% of your conversion rates. Keep those and then pause everything else. So that's more aggressive, but at the same time, it is also a lot more profitable when you're done, which is what you want. So when it comes to the placements, that would be things in the campaigns for like sponsor product campaigns for like say top of search, product page. Look at those. Don't just assume it's like, oh, I need, somebody told me that I need to bump up top of search, 15,000% or something foolish. Look to see where you have the higher conversion rate in your ads. That may be top of search, and you look at it on a per campaign basis. And so what I'm suggesting is that you adjust, you basically lean into the placements, either top of search or product pages that has the highest conversion rate. Now, there's a third one there, of course, rest of search. You don't have any control over that. That's just kind of the remainder of it. Sponsor brand ads do actually have some additional control as far as non-top of search, but not everybody has access to that. So I wasn't going to go into detail on that. But you are looking to look into the placements, results basically inside of ad console, go into each campaign, go into each sponsor product campaign, look at the placements tab or the placements menu, and you will see, okay, here's basically the results for top of search, product pages, or rest of search. Do the math, orders divided by clicks, to figure out which ones have the highest conversion rate. If you have one of those that stands out as the obvious winner when it comes to conversion rate, then lean into it. In other words, bump it up, 10, 20, 30%, maybe even up to 50%. Don't go crazy on it. Targets, same kind of thing. Your auto targeting groups, so your sponsor product automatic campaigns include auto targeting groups. Those are your loose match, your close match, your complements, and your substitute. And each one of those, same thing I just walked you through on the placements, look at each one of those for each of your automatic campaigns. You absolutely should be running automatic campaigns for each of your products, even if it's at a low bid. Definitely essential for high traffic days to make sure you've got that kind of safety net automatic campaign that is running in the background at a lower bid. But if you've got existing automatic campaigns running, you want to go in and look at those individual automatic product targeting groups and figure out, is one of these or one or two of those considerably higher in the conversion rate? And you could probably even either reduce the bid or turn off the ones that have the lowest conversion rate of those four, right? So you're keeping one or two, maybe you're pausing one or two or reducing the bid on one or two of those. You're focusing your ad spend on where you're going to get the highest return, okay? Keywords and match types. Of course, you can go in at the keyword level. This takes a little bit more time, but certainly worth doing is you can go in and you can look at the individual keywords within ad groups, within campaigns, and you can see which ones have it historically, look at the last couple of months at least, and say which ones typically have the higher conversion rate. Keep those running, maybe pause the ones that aren't performing as well. It's not to say that, I talked to a number of brands that say, it's like, well, I don't want to turn off these keywords because they're producing sales. But are they producing sales within what you require from a return on investment, from a performance standpoint, right? So don't simply just get the sales for vanity metrics. make sure that you're also walking away with money in your pocket so that you're happy that you did the right thing and you walked away with actual cash in your pocket, profit after Prime Day. I talk to way too many brands who say it's like, oh yeah, we got killed last year because, you know, we went really aggressive on all of our ads and then we walked away and we were losing thousands of dollars when we actually did the math afterwards. Don't be that brand. So, let me know in the chat if you've ever done that before, because I can certainly sympathize or empathize with it. I will address this one. So how far would you suggest comparing the data? As far as from a duration standpoint, like 60-day, I mean, sometimes what I'll do from a duration standpoint, I will look at recent. I'm not looking at the last 2 days, of course, because the sales data isn't there. I will look at recent, typically either 30-day or 60-day. I will also compare that to year to date, but this has been such a volatile year that each product category is going to vary. Now, you may have some history from this time last year if you were participating in last year, and this is your high peak season for your product. You may want to look at last year's to see where things were, but assume that things have changed. Things have gotten more competitive. Things have gotten more expensive. But you can certainly look at both a short-term and a long-term duration. You should already be going through and doing, like, say, weekly optimization when it comes to negative search terms or keyword bid adjustments just for profitability. But I'm actually suggesting that you temporarily, until a couple of days after Prime Days, you're actually shutting off some of your ads, maybe at the keyword level, if you want to go that deep. It could be at the ad group level. It could be at the campaign level. It could be an entire, ad type. You also want to look at within your ad groups, the products that you're targeting, which products should you pause during this time so that all your ad spend is focused in, again, on that 20% of your products. Now, some of you are like, I only have one product. Well, you don't have a choice then, right? You can still go in as from not doing the product reduction there, product Pareto, but you can certainly look at your campaign, your ad types, your campaigns, your keywords. Take the time. It is definitely worth doing. Now, afterwards, you're going to want the ability to turn those all back on again. One of the things I would recommend in this process is to, before you make any changes, hopefully you're not over there making the changes right now, but inside of Ad Console, go in and pull a bulk operations report for, like, say, the last 30 days, last 60 days. So you've got basically a snapshot, and then you've got something that you could just upload back again and it resets it back to today, right? So that actually works pretty well. From a, I was going to say match types on that as well, right? So match types, we usually go through, of course, you should be testing exact phrase and broad match, especially if you're in this year. One of the things that we're seeing is actually quite a bit of performance on broad match keywords in hyper competitive, on extremely competitive product niche. And you'll know if you are in one, if you've got 100, 50,000 or 100,000, competitors, then you're in that one. Try out broad match. Now, I probably wouldn't do it right before Prime Day, but this is something that we definitely have seen that is working lately. The phrase and exact match, just kind of focus in on those keywords and the complement on the match type that goes along with that. Phrase match, exact match, again, that is getting the higher conversion rate and is getting the right volume. Both of those may work. Both of them may have an above average conversion rate compared to other keywords. Keep them both, right? So you kind of want to use analyze it a little bit and just kind of make a judgment call as, like, is this auto targeting group? Is this placement? Is this keyword? Is this product? Is this category targeting? Is it above my average conversion rate, or is it below my average conversion rate? If it's below my average conversion rate, I'm going to pause it until after these high traffic days. As far as products go, now with products, you can do that through either targeting specific ASINs on product targeting ads. Product ads are available through sponsor product, sponsor brand, and sponsor display. And they show up in different places, but you definitely, if you're not currently doing product targeting ads, some call it ASIN targeting, then I definitely would. A number of my other webinars and teaching that I have in the group certainly goes through as far as some of the tactics on that. If you're dealing with a whole lot of ASINs, you might want to reach out to our agency instead. But the categories, let me kind of jump onto and show you the next page here, and then I'll come back and talk about categories. All right. So here's an example. One of my youngest son, he's really into Titanic and sinking cruise ships and all that kind of stuff right now. So just never ends these days. Like it's constant. Like I want to reenact, Titanic. Anyway, so yeah, Titanic is kind of how I live as a parent these days. But I don't know if any of your kids are into really passionate about something right now. But yeah, let me know. So this is an example here of a product detail page. Now, the red ones are the risk points. The green ones are opportunities, okay? This is one of many of the items in a standard analysis that my team goes through when we talk to a potential client, potential partner of our agency. We go through and we look on the products and we say, okay, what are your strengths and your weaknesses? What effect that has on you? A lot of times, losing market share to competitors is the common theme, because one of the things that we see time and time again is nearly all of the brands that we talk to, like, not kidding, even the ones who think it's like, yeah, we're doing everything we possibly can, they walk in, we're like going, you're actually only using 15 to 20% of the ad space you have available to you, which means your competition is filling in the other 80, 85%. And therefore, that's why your market share is slowly dwindling over time, because your competition has gotten savvy on what ads to run and they're taking your customer away. So what we do is we come in and we look at this, and the red ones, like say below the bullet points on this listing, you can see that in the red box there is one of the ads. That is a product targeting ad. That can be fulfilled through sponsored product targeting ad or sponsored display product targeting ad. And then also in the one on the right column below the add to cart is another product targeting ad. That one is specific to sponsored display product targeting ads. If you want to know how to fill that. If you are not currently running ads against your own products, now it's not going to work for you to run your own product on your own product page or your own product child variation on another child variation page. But if you've got separate products that are standalone or separate parent products, you can cross market those. Try to keep it relevant if you can. But yeah, you definitely want to defend that ad space, because right now, if you look at your listing and you see a competitor's ad or ads running in the top half of your product detail page, that is a shiny object for your shopper to potentially get pulled off to somebody else's brand, which is not something you want. We see it all day long, every day. And this is obviously something that my agency team gets resolved to make sure that your market share increases, not decreases. Obviously increasing as we turn this around on the competition and do it to them. So I'm competitive that way. I will absolutely do it. The red box, the final red box down at the bottom, of course, that one varies depending on product niche and product page. That can be things like you might also like these other sponsored items. Here's some 4-star sponsored items. Here's some sponsored brand ads that show up. All of those become distraction points. Now, I do actually have, there's a hack that allows you to suppress those products, those ads down farther, about 3 or 4 inches. I'm not sure if any of you know what I'm talking about there. If you don't, I'm not going to cover that in this call here. Reach out to my agency team at Canopy Management, and we'll get you educated on what that is and how to solve that problem. But yeah, there's some tactics that we use both from a defense standpoint and an offense standpoint. Now, the green boxes, you're probably wondering what the green boxes are. Those are opportunities for you. The first one on the top there, that is a video. It's kind of hard to see maybe, but there's a video on there. If you're not currently running a sponsor brand video ad, I definitely recommend that you set that up. It doesn't have to be a great video. Try to keep it to, edit it down to like 15 seconds or so, add some text in there because most people don't have the audio on, but then run a sponsored brand video ad. And we've seen phenomenal success as far as conversion rates on sponsored brand video ads when you got that kind of asset, that kind of video asset. The other ones here is there's a couple of books along there, frequently bought together. You can run ads against those. Of course, you can run other products that aren't yours. You can run ads on and basically run product targeting ads against those other products that are frequently bought together with yours or are related to yours. Yes. Okay. So I said that I was going to mention categories. Now, certainly as my team knows on this, is that a lot of the category targeting ads are traditionally not profitable. Now we have a bunch of different strategies and tactics where we make a lot of the campaigns and ad types and everything. We can make pretty much anything work well. But most brands that I talk to, they've tried things like, sponsored brand ads and they didn't get them to work, and there's the whole sequence of the way that's done. When it comes to category targeting ads, and that's available through sponsored product, sponsored brand, and sponsored display. You can do category targeting ads. And the category targeting ads don't get very much love from Amazon. They don't get very many impressions, but then usually the conversion rates are not very good, which means the ACoS is bad on those. Here is a tactic I did not bring up on the last one, but I will, you're kind of like, this is an exclusive. So if you are kind of passively listening right now, pay attention right now. If you set up a category targeting ad, use the filters to select non-prime. Okay, this is what we call a non-prime category targeting ad. You've heard on product ads where you say, oh, well, target other products that have lower reviews or a higher price tag. On the category one, I want you to set this up, but select as a filter on the target category, non-prime, meaning your ads, assuming that your product is prime delivery, right, is eligible for prime delivery, you are essentially running ads just on competitive products or related products that are not prime. All the shoppers have been trained to want instant gratification. They will pass over, if they can't get it fast enough, they will pass over and they'll see your ad and they'll choose your product because they can actually get it right within a couple of days. Later on this year, it's going to be a lot longer, but just trust me on that one. It works phenomenally well. All right, so let me move on here. Let me take a drink of water and then we'll move on to post-prime. In the chat, do me a favor. Give me a 1 if you're getting some value, if you're taking some notes, if you see something you're going to implement today, please put a 1 in there. Give me some feedback. Let me know that, because that way what I'll do is if I get enough feedback here on this, thank you, then I will stick around and answer some questions too once I'm done wrapping this piece of it up here. Awesome. Good. Okay. Fantastic. Okay. All right. Final step 3, right? Obviously, there's a lot of different ad strategies, a lot of different ways of doing things. But the last of these 3 core ones is one of the big mistakes that we see is brands chasing the sales, right? Have you ever done that before? Have you gone through a high traffic week or a holiday season? You're like going, yeah, I'm getting all these sales, and all of a sudden the sales start dropping off. And so you start pushing the gas pedal more. You start putting bigger budgets in. You start bidding higher, right? Well, I can guarantee you that's the same reaction that a lot of your competitors, or I'd say pretty much all your competitors are doing too. They start chasing the sales. Don't do that, okay? So let me kind of go through this. Step 3. Sorry. I've got an opinion on this one. So step 3. So this one is so, okay, let me kind of go through it. Sure. So this, as far as planning your post-Prime exit strategy to avoid wasted ad spend. So after Prime Day is over, for the next couple of days, you're still going to get some sales, right? The traffic is still out there. They've kind of been in this buying frenzy, right? However, you've got to remember that you need to reset back because your conversion rates are going to drop again right after Prime Day starts wrapping up within a couple of days of Prime Day. So Prime Day 13th and 14th, you'll get some sales on the 15th. It'll start falling off on the 16th, 17th will probably be, conversion rates will be lower than normal, right? Much like what they are in the week leading up to, as in like right now, the week leading up to Prime Day, your conversion rates are probably very poor, right? You're probably spending a whole lot. Your ACoS is jumping up. Your conversion rate is down because people are holding off, waiting for bargains, waiting for deals. And then they're going to jump in on the 13th and 14th and start shopping like crazy, right? But don't chase the sales. So I want you to go back and readjust and reassess. In other words, remember that snapshot that I told you to take, that bulk operations report? You can upload that back up again. Assuming you didn't make a bunch of other changes, but I mean, you're obviously going to make some changes, but you can actually upload that last bulk operations report and reset everything back to normal. However, here's what I want you to do. I want you to go through and first of all, wait a couple of days, wait until like say the 15th and 16th, watch your conversion rates, monitor what your daily conversion rates are. And then when you start seeing those drop, that's your signal. Okay. That is your indicator that, okay, I need to dial things back because the conversion rates have tanked again. Okay. So you're going to dial back down. You can use that bulk operations report. You can upload that up again and just kind of reset everything back. Or what I would recommend is to take this opportunity to reevaluate your paused ad groups, your keywords, your campaigns, your ad types, and see, do I really want to turn those back on again? Or have I been just letting those ride for too long without really getting control? You just took steps in order to set up for Prime Day, in order to focus onto your 20% top performing products and targets in your ads. Now is the time to be very selective about what you turn back on again so that you can continue your profitability. You can increase your sales a little bit. You're going to turn some things on. But what you'll find is, lo and behold, about half of your ads, half of your targets, half of your products, you may not turn on the ads again until after the holiday season, right? We can start doing research and testing again and start, the competition is a lot lower. So consider that. It's going to help you to really going through the exercise, the Pareto exercise, of really focusing, identifying what is a 20%, a top 20% by conversion rate, by margin, by profitability, right? Is going to really set you up for the rest of fourth quarter. It's also going to help you kind of reevaluate the products that you've been sourcing and some of the decisions about new products that you may want to start in first quarter. Okay. Yeah. One of the questions I had was regarding category ads. I know I said I was going to answer questions later on, but just shiny objects, right? Yeah. If you don't have category, if you don't have any of the, any of the missing ad types, then yes, you definitely should set those up. If you are unsure about the strategy, if you haven't been on any of my recent webinars that talk about the specific strategy, then just set them up with a low bid, something that's below your break even, like maybe even half of what the suggested bid is for a keyword or a product target. Something low bid. It may not get very much traffic, but most likely it's going to be, profitable. It'll have a low ACoS too. So very low risk in that respect. So let me kind of summarize here. Those were my 3 last minute steps for all the procrastinators out there that you can take over the next few days as you get ready for Prime Day, October 13th and 14th. To kind of recap here is, focus on the bus drivers only, right? Unless you're liquidating stock, focus on your winners. Of course, inventory. In other words, check your inventory, know how much you've got before you start dumping a bunch of money into it on high traffic days. Expect some turbulence, right? especially when it comes to conversion rates. Conversion rates are going to be low right now. They're going to jump back up to normal or even higher during Prime days and a couple of days after Prime days, and then they're going to start falling back down again. Do not chase extra sales by increasing bids and budgets when the conversion rates are going down. That is definitely not the way to spend your money. All right. I know it's tempting, but don't do it, because you are just going to blow money and you're going to just liquidate any profitability that you got over the past couple of days. Let's see here. What else? I think that's about it as far as like what I'm covering here. So let me kind of touch base again. I'm getting a bunch of questions that are talking about outsourcing in my agency. So let me kind of just address that. I actually had some slides that I had at the end here. Let me get through that and then we'll do Q&A, okay? If you want Q&A put into the chat, put Q&A into the chat. Let me know that you got some questions or you want to listen in on the Q&A. So that way I won't just end the webinar or end the workshop. I'll actually stick around and answer some questions. All right, so let me kind of wrap up the sponsorship side of the house, and then looks like I've got enough interest to do the Q&A that I'll go ahead and stick around and do that for a little bit. So consider that Prime Day is just the beginning, right? So the next couple of months, I guess, for fourth quarter will be a make or break for a lot of brands on Amazon. Everybody's competing to try to capture the holiday sales. We have, if you were in my last workshop, you heard me say it's going to be very compressed as far as timeline. You basically have October 13th through December 10th is your window this year. You're not going to get the December 21st massive sales, right? You're not going to get December 15th. December 10th is what we're predicting based off of logistics and shipping problems. So what you're doing right now is you are setting up, you're increasing some sales velocity where it matters. You are collecting profit where it matters on the products that actually can give you that. It helps you refine where your products are and where your ads are. Now, you're probably not running a lot of the advanced strategies that my own team would have, right? But getting started now as far as setting up for a successful fourth quarter also launches, we've seen it again year over year, also launches you into a more successful first quarter. In other words, what I'm saying on that is that what you do right now during fourth quarter will increase your market share or decrease your market share. It's unlikely to stay flat. Either your competitors are going to take the market share from you or you're going to take it from them. And fourth quarter is going to set you up so that you have a dominant or a majority control in Q1 in your product niche, or a minority control, right? Or lack of control, as somebody mentioned to me in Q1. So part of this is making sure that you kind of get all your ducks in a row for Q4. I've given you a lot of tips, especially in the last workshop, as well as this workshop, as far as the most essential things you need to do for Prime Day, but you got the rest of the season as potential opportunities to set you up for a successful fourth quarter as well as first quarter. Now, I kind of want to show you where, as from a canopy management standpoint, where the agency has been able to accomplish for our partners in the last Q4, and then we'll jump on to the questions. I appreciate you dropping those questions in there right now. That way I can scroll back up here when I'm done here. But my ask to you, I'm just going to just throw it out there. Just to be blatant about this, right? If you're curious as far as like what outsourcing would do and what our agency does, just go out to Canopy Management. And Alex, would you mind throwing the link into the chat there for me? Go out there, submit your information, see if it's a good fit or not. It's not like we're going to, chase you down or anything like that. It either is going to be a good partnership or it's not, or you're not ready for it. As simple as that. But let me kind of go through a couple of the successes that we've had. So on this one here, this is kind of a typical example, honestly, is that we were working with a women's hair care niche. They were actually losing money, as many of the brands that we work with start out on with their ads. And so what we were able to do is we had started with them a little over a year ago. I guess it was October of last year. And we quickly identified as far as the products and the focus. again, that whole Pareto thing, right? On what was going to have the highest potential for Q4, right? Not the same strategy you're going to use in first quarter and around the rest of the year, but certainly in fourth quarter. We set up everything that was more advanced so that we could dominate market share, increase market share during that fourth quarter, and really excel above and beyond what competitors are aware that they can do, right? So we should know what we're doing, right? We had a massive increase in sales from October to December. Mind you, this is relative to how they were doing the year before, right? A huge jump, 300-400%, something like that. While we were able to drop the ACOS, obviously we focused in on where the conversion rate was the highest, and therefore we were able to do both, increase sales and reduce ACOS, okay? We had another one that was similar that we had started with, God, I want to say it was August, September, maybe September last year. I know the slide says Q4, but I think it was like September of last year. They were kind of going on. They were pretty flat. Let's just be honest with it. They weren't doing anything. They were kind of flat. They were just waiting around for competition to come in and kind of scoop them up, take market share away. So we have now gotten to the point where, well, in December, for instance, you can kind of see compared to the previous year, in December, we actually pulled out $1.5 million a month in ad sales, and with an ACOS that allowed them to walk away with a big chunk of cash, right? And those are the wins that we love to celebrate. Certainly we do that pretty much. We actually have a part of our culture of our agency is every single day we talk about what are the wins, what are the great successes that we'd had for our partners the day before. That's how frequently we have wins. So we love that. It brings up our energy. We're laughing because the feedback that we get from our clients and our partners is so great that it is it's a great environment to work in. Let's put it that way. So my question to you, of course, is, do you want to achieve similar results for your own brand? Do you want to start taking the first step towards growing your Amazon business? Then, of course, I do want to help you get ready for not just Q4, but also for the next stage in your business to step up, to increase your market share, to dominate your product niche. It's something that we enjoy doing. And of course, set you up for not only first quarter, but all of 2021, right? Now, with Canopy Management, we're not just PPC management, right? We are full service. So anything you need from listing optimization to Amazon SEO, ranking, inventory management, we have the expert people on teams who eat, sleep, and breathe it. So if you're looking at everything that we talked about today and you're thinking about how much you'd rather be spending your time doing other things, more things that are better suited for you, such as brand development, product expansion, strategic partners, margaritas on a beach. I don't know if that actually works, but I do want to give you a way to do just that. So Alex, thank you for putting that link in there. That is how you reach out to our team. That is how you submit a form so that our team will help you evaluate. We'll tell you the strengths and weaknesses of where you're at with your brand now. And if we can help you, we will tell you. If we cannot, we will tell you that also. So there's really is no risk on this. But we're going to look for any kind of opportunities, of course. And then I'm going to jump into the Q&A here. Thank you. We're going to look for the opportunities, of course, that is going to have both the short-term profitability for Q4 as well as the long-term growth into 2021. Let's see here. Yep. Okay. I'm going to wrap up with that then. So we got the link in there. Thank you, Alex. Yeah, Q4. Yeah, so go out to that link, submit the form, basically get the conversation going. It certainly is no risk to you to get things moving. So yes, that's where I'll end it. Now, what I'll do is I'll field some of the questions here. Let me go ahead and open up the chat. Oh, I see. Okay, I kind of lost it there. There you go. So somebody was asking for the link there. So let me go ahead and put that back in there so you can see it. And I will look at get the chat window to expand here. Hold on, folks. There we go. All right. Let me scroll back up. All right, so WL, love to know what the name is. Would you say you need to run a featured deal to be successful on Prime Day? No. However, certainly a Prime exclusive deal is an awesome way. That window has already closed, so you don't have the option to do that now. However, we do certainly highly recommend Prime exclusive deals. Those are typically 20% or better. Those drive a huge amount of traffic. They get a lot of visibility. They have, the Prime Day, the Prime exclusive deal badge goes on to ads and listings. And so, yeah, you get a lot more traffic, right? So, if you missed the last couple of workshops that I did where I was saying get that set up, then I'm sorry, but you do certainly have next year in order to take advantage of that. Hopefully next year's Prime Day is actually in July. And not waiting until October to get it. You can also, of course, run, any kind of one of the tricks that I recommend. And this is about differentiation, right? It's not about the discount that you're offering. It's about whether or not you stand out from your competitors. That's a whole other workshop that I'll probably do. And that is if you look at your take your top term, search on Amazon, right? If you see where most of your competitors are not using any kind of a coupon, if it's rare to see a coupon where that basically is a little green thing that says something like, 5% off, then that is a great opportunity for your product to stand out if you add in a 5% coupon. That also shows up on certain ad types. It is a great way to catch shoppers' eyes, get them to pause for half a second to look at your listing, look at your ad, so that they will consider your product. That's the first battle, right? It's just trying to get them to actually look at your listing when they're just scrolling through on their mobile phone or on their laptop and they don't even see your product. So give them something. If everybody else is doing coupons, don't do the coupon, right? So be different, right? Go take the road less traveled. That also applies to things like titles and images and bullet points, that kind of stuff. I answered a couple of these other ones earlier. Daisy was asking, so sponsored display ads, sponsored display product targeting ads, lots of clicks with no conversion. How to refine the targeting? So I would certainly take a look at where are you running against? In other words, if you are running those product targeting ads against competitors, did you just throw everything in there? Did you, every ASIN was a bestseller? Did you target a list of ASINs that were suggested by Amazon, or did you go through and curate which ones you're targeting? In other words, assuming that your product has an above average or at least an average conversion rate compared to your competitors, assuming that you have your price point and your reviews are similar to the competition, then you should be able to take sales away from them. Usually what I try to avoid are the ones that are just the 800-pound gorillas that have 10 times the amount of reviews that I have a better price point, have maybe they're a well-known brand name, a national brand name, for instance. Those are the ones I'll probably back off on or not run those product targeting ads. But that opens it up so that the other 90% of the ASINs that are probably in your product niche are viable targets. So definitely take the time to go through and curate your list of ASINs a little bit. Hopefully you're targeting at least 20, 50, maybe even 100 ASINs as part of that. One of the things you can certainly do to reduce the risk is just kind of reduce your default bid a little bit, just to kind of dampen that a little bit. It gives you a little bit more room to test. Reddy was asking, so against frequently bought for some ASIN, virtual bundles seems to do the job, right? Yeah, virtual bundles. So I actually don't use virtual bundles in order to make sales. So I actually use that from a defensive standpoint in product listings. Again, that was the thing I was saying, like talk to our agency team. We'll tell you how to do that. And we'll actually probably set it up for you. But you could use virtual bundles. I would definitely highly recommend virtual bundles and setting that up. But again, I don't use it for the sales, although sales do come. I mainly use it for defensive purposes. So, Would you run gold panning strategy for Prime Day? Yes, every day, all day, all around a year. Gold panning. If you're not familiar with my gold panning strategies, it's probably on one of my previously recorded workshops. It is something that we use and we love to use because it provides probably additional 5 to 10% of sales at single-digit ACOS in many cases. It's what it's what I call gold panning, and that can be applied to all ads. It's primarily a low bid strategy. Let's see here. On my product, on my PDP, sponsored product, display ad product targeting, maybe? I'm not quite sure what that is, Radu, as far as what a PDP is, but the question is there any way to push competitors below the first screen except newer version? Yeah, newer version. I mean, I know what you're saying as far as the newer version piece of it, but that's not enough. I'm looking for something that that pushes it even farther down as far as competitors below the first screen. You definitely want to, so you're going to want to make sure that you try to occupy, not 100% of the time, but most of the time you want to try to occupy those product targeting ads below your bullet points and below your add to cart. That is a great way to get them just a little bit, push competition down a little bit. And then you can certainly run other ad types in order to populate more of the sponsored ads related to this kind of product, or other items you might like. You can certainly use those as well. Let's see here. Does sponsored brand headline search belong to category ads? So category is a targeting available in all three ad types. So sponsored brand is an ad type. So you got sponsored product, sponsored brand, sponsored display. The headline search ads are basically those banner ads that are up on top. That is not a category targeting ad. I suppose it could trigger. There's some flexibility in the headline ads. In each of the ad types, there's some flexibility where different ad types can trigger it. So the category ad could, but more likely what you're going to have is more of a title that shows up in the middle or the bottom of search results, or the middle or bottom of a product detail page. That is more likely where your sponsored brand category targeting ad would go. As far as refining to increase conversion rate, again, go back and look at the data, see what is working, what is not. Look to use things like the non-prime filter in order to filter that even further, so that you get higher profitability out of it. Let's see here, Radu, got a couple more questions here. In ad group containing all matches of a keyword, the search query matches exact, is this going to win? No, not necessarily. Exact match is not shown all the time. I know there's a lot of people, a lot of authors out there saying, oh, exact match is your go-to. The only reason they say that is because it's easier to control. For the lazy manager who doesn't want to have too much control, they'll say, oh, we do everything into exact match only, or we migrate from broad to phrase to exact. When ultimately there's a lot more flexibility to that. It also does not get shown every time because there's other things that Amazon uses to judge the shopper's state of mind, which is kind of creepy, I guess. In other words, they are looking to see, they make a judgment as far as the shopper's buying intent at the time of search, and they'll show different ad types, including exact versus phrase, depending on whether or not that shopper's ready to buy or not. So it's easy to, if you focus too much on just one thing, you will, most of the biggest penalty on that is you'll miss out on some additional sales. Yeah, so I would mix when you can, but typically I'm going to mix, but I'm testing that outside of fourth quarter. I'm typically not doing those kind of testing during, certainly not right before Prime Day. That is something you're probably going to have to shuffle off to Q1 to start testing that again. Zay asked, do you do DSP too? Yes. So demand side platform, which is Amazon's second one, Canopy Management absolutely does that. We've got a fantastic track record. We actually manage that ourselves. So you don't have, where Amazon, when they manage demand side platform, what we call DSP, those are both on Amazon display ads and off Amazon retargeting display ads. When Amazon manages it, they typically charge, they require a minimum of $35,000 per month in ad spend. I think they're running a sale on that right now where it's like 25,000 per month. We don't have those kind of restrictions. I mean, obviously we want you to be an established brand, but when we manage it, first of all, we focus in on brand, not just visibility, but we also focus in on profitability, of course, is what you want, and you don't have the high bar. So it is much better to go through our agency since we are registered and we run our own DSP through Amazon. Just kind of a comment there. It looks like been noticing a small increase of gold panning on some products. Yeah, so gold panning is kind of nice because it is one of those campaigns that it sits around and it doesn't do a whole lot and it's not very impressive. But then all of a sudden, when your competition starts stumbling, when they start running out of, running out of inventory or their ad budget ends at the end of the day, all of a sudden your low bid campaigns start popping up right and left and you start getting additional sales at a very low A cost. So yeah, it's a beautiful thing, especially on high traffic days like Prime days. Radu saying PDP is product display page. Yeah, I don't know what that is. AMS used to have something called product display ad or PDA, which they've retired. Product display page. I mean, I guess product detail page, maybe. Okay. So not the actual listing page as opposed to the ad type. Cool. All right. Any last questions on this one? Any last questions regarding Canopy or what we can do? Hopefully you guys got the link on that one. Radu, okay, end of day in London. All right, well, go have a good night. Hopefully you get a chance to implement a couple of things here. Here's what I want you to do next. If you haven't already reached out to my team at Canopy, then I definitely recommend do that. There is no risk. It's simply just a good way to get some feedback about how you're doing relative to your competition. And I hope that you go and implement these things that we've talked about today. Implement Pareto. Start going through and looking at your reports. Start getting, pulling down your product, your bulk operations report, and start analyzing for your above average or even top 20% conversion rates, profit margins, and of course inventory. Awesome. Yeah, usually Lisa, the replay we typically get out within a day, and it is typically available for 1 week. And then we cut it off, right? Awesome. Thanks everybody. Thank you for joining me today. I'm glad we were able to run through this pretty quick here. We went just over an hour, so that's good. Go implement, do your analysis. Tell me about how your Prime Day does, because I want to hear some great things. So send me some feedback. Let me know that you implemented. Let me know that what your success rate was on Prime Days. I always welcome that conversation. So I appreciate you all, and we will talk next time. Take care, everybody.